It's nice to see everyone, yeah. And let's just talk about nothing, really. We're talking about nothing, and nothing being everything and everything being nothing. We're talking about what appears to be happening, aliveness, isness, energy. And the suggestion is that's that's boundlessness. So what's appearing, whatever is appearing there, um, your hand on your face, sounds, a screen, a seat, a thought, a sensation, a memory, whatever is appearing to happen is actually everything. It's because all there is aliveness appearing as whatever is. The sense that it's separate is from you feeling separate, and that's a dualistic dream, a dualistic dream of you and other, you and the world out there, you living your life. I mean, that's what we're told. You have a life, you're living your life. Here's how you should best live your life, get the most out of your life, live your best life, all of these things. And rarely do we hear the suggestion that actually we don't have a life. There's just aliveness. But you're hearing it now. So that's what we're going to talk about. Uh, you can't you can't describe this, you can't know this, you can't have this, you can't lose it. It's unknowable, ungraspable, and inescapable. It's simply whatever is and isn't, whatever appears to be. So we'll talk and we'll see what happens. Any question, doesn't matter. Just say hi if you want to, whatever. And you know, see what appears to arise. Oh, Catherine, you okay?
Hello, yes, I'm fine. I I I was on an adventure from the 17th, driving my camping car, and then one morning I had a walk, came across a stream one way, and on the way back, I looked at this very wet plank, and I saw my Wellington boot stepping on it, and then I ended up in the water with a broken tibia, a fractured tibia, broken ribs. Pull myself out. I can tell you the survival instinct kicks in, and my
Yeah.
gosh, it feels like such a great um, boost to live life again. It was like my life had become monotone and I was bored. And I had 10-minute walk, which took 40 minutes crawling on the bit of knee I could crawl on. admiring any little slug and fly I would look at as I was on all fours. It was just amazing, this life as a slug would just lift me and just carry me forward a bit more until I was near enough to a road that people stopped and then everything, all the senses are highlighted, people walking in through the door with a smile on their face, and it's like the sunshine, and it's all the senses are highlighted. So yeah, and it's possibly one of the the best experiences in my life. The
You'd
adventure.
recommend it, would you?
You can't plan, so no recommendation here. But
Yeah, I know. I'm
yeah,
obviously joking around. Yeah.
yes, yes,
Yeah, it's not. And the other way of seeing it is it's not an experience and it's not your life. And it's aliveness and it appeared
it's
to happen as
aliveness.
that. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's just a happy drill way of explaining things, but
Oh, I
possibly
know.
both.
Yeah, I don't mean to be
Yeah.
pedantic, Pat. I'm not pulling you up
No,
in that
no.
sense. I'm
And
just
you
saying.
know what, Kenneth? I don't care
Yeah,
anymore.
who gives a fuck anyway? It doesn't
I
matter.
don't
I know
care
it's amazing.
anymore. It's
Yeah, it's
amazing. Yeah.
beautiful. Your life is explosive
Uh,
and you just don't
yeah.
know. It can be very painful and yeah, I don't know. It's
I
just yeah.
mean, there was no thought form coming in with a story. It was just like
Yeah.
practical stuff, how do I get myself out of
Yeah,
here?
yeah, totally. Yeah, yeah.
And just like yeah, even just seeing these little slugs is just in total amazement. I guess like a child, is yeah,
Yeah.
everything feels amazing. Is but there you are. Is
There you
non-duality or
go.
not? I couldn't care less anymore.
Yeah, who cares? There's no such thing as non-duality. How many
Yes,
times have you
yes,
told me how many times have you heard me say that?
yes, yes, yes. But it's
Doesn't
funny,
matter.
you can't help it. How it's understood or
Oh
not
no, of
understood.
course not. It
Yeah,
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah,
yes,
yeah, yeah.
yes, yeah,
And it can't be any other way. It just is what it is. It doesn't matter.
yes, exactly. Yes, that's
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's no, yeah, impossibility to be any different. And
It's gorgeous. And I mean, all there
yeah,
is aliveness, and aliveness as that appeared to happen there. And that's the point. It appeared to happen. It's something it didn't even happen.
yeah,
Didn't even happen. Like this isn't even happening. There's just
yeah,
aliveness. There's just aliveness as a slug, as a broken leg,
yes,
as
yeah,
an hour crawl on all fours, as severe pain as a hospital bed, as a Zoom meeting, blah blah
yes,
blah,
yeah.
whatever. It's all simply aliveness, and
It's simply
it's
aliveness.
obviously is just that. That's just the way it is, and isn't. And
Yes,
in that, then there's a sense of people have a sense of being an individual
yes, yes,
who all of these things are happening to. It's happening to me,
yes.
and
That's
so
true.
on.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
that's just the way it is until it isn't.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's stunning. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I just thought I'd say hi.
Yeah, thanks. It's
I've not
nice to
been on any Zoom for a while now, so
yeah. So
yeah.
you
Again, I could say I camped alongside like a surfer's beach in Brittany,
mm-hmm.
and never seen big waves like that, and I decided to try and go in anyway. And I could say in experience that the wave absolutely took me over, smashed me to the seabed,
Yeah.
but forward. So, and there was no fear at all. It's just you're completely taken over, and there's no um yeah, it's just what happens.
Yeah.
Uh, Again, it's full on aliveness, and whatever word is used, and if there's still a sense of me, and that it, it, there's nobody struggling with that idea anymore.
Yeah,
that,
yeah.
that there shouldn't be someone, or that, it's anyway, I just wanted to say hi and share that, and
How,
I'll
how's the
listen.
hospital food?
Oh, oh no, don't talk about that. Oh, especially I'm thinking, oh, sausage and mash, yes, that sounds good. Oh, no, maybe in the UK, but here it's like the
You're not
sausage
gonna get
looked,
bangers and mash in a
yeah,
hospital in France too easily, are you?
well, it looked like
Maybe.
a big toe, the sausage is like pretty unappealing.
Yeah.
And hard-boiled eggs, they must have been hard-boiled for an hour, and they seem to come out straight from the freezer, and no salt and no. So some of it is palatable, and pizza and things, but yeah,
Um,
yeah. No, it's. I guess I do feel alive. It's that aliveness that's
aliveness, yeah. There you go.
yeah,
Inescapable aliveness.
inescapable. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, in a way, it's quite nice.
Yeah.
But there you are.
Well, lucky you. Everyone is very coming on the
I've been
Zoom,
waiting for a week
bragging.
or so for repatriation, and my daughters turned up yesterday so they could drive my van back home, because my van wasn't broken down, so that can't be taken home. And it's,
Oh
there's a
yes.
yeah, but yeah, all fun and games.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, I'll
Well, I'll see you in Vietnam later on this week then.
maybe on
Okay.
Zoom. Yes, okay. Thank you.
See you,
Uh,
Catherine. Nice to talk to you. So a comment came in the past. I never had anxiety, but recently it's been coming up again and again about my age, and I'm getting older, that I'm alone, and anxiety about whether I can cope with life on my own. Loneliness comes up and a feeling of emptiness. Life as a human being is so exhausting at the moment. It's a feeling of falling into hopelessness. Yeah, it's kind of dark, isn't it? So that's what's happening then. Um, Thoughts are arising about fixated on your age and what's the other thing? And being on your own. So it's if that stopped, then there might be another thing that you would fixate on then. And if in these scenarios, what you often see is you worry about being on your own, and then you get in a relationship, and then you wonder, do you want to be on your own again? And it's kind of a grass is greener thing, maybe. But that's, I don't know, that's what's happening there. Exhaustion is happening, thoughts are happening, worry is happening. So that's all aliveness. The suggestion that's been made here is that there's no you there that could be alone, for instance. Yeah, well, another way of putting it is that it's just to focus maybe on one aspect of it. Um, there's the sense that you're going to be alone is comes from the sense that there's other, so there's two. So there's in a dualistic reality, there's you and there's another person, and there's a sense of loneliness when you're not around maybe other people enough, or you're not sharing what you think is of your life with another person. Um, and actually, really, there isn't anybody that's not absolutely, completely, totally, and utterly alone. Only they think they're not. The reason you're totally and utterly alone is there's just oneness. There is no other. That can be appear as a problem when you feel you have your life and you're alone, then you are lonely. So when that sense of you having the one who feels they have a life, then there's that's not there anymore. Then there's simply aliveness, wholeness, oneness, and it seemed that's all there ever was. There was no you that ever lived their life, and so there's just that sense of loneliness is directly from a sense of separateness. Yeah. It's just another way to look at it. It's these thoughts are coming, they're just thoughts. They're a sense of anxiety is there. It's energy, anxiety is what's happening, it's what's appearing to happen. Excuse me. The other thing is, I just glanced at the message there again, and it just jumped out at me. Can I cope with life on my own? And it's amazing. Like the we have this sense that we're living our life, and it's so embodied and energetically uh, real for us. And we have all of these worries and neurotic thoughts and feelings and heaviness around the sense of uh, how we are coping with with living our life. Um, and it's incredible. Like you've never lived your life ever, ever. You're not there. It's amazing. It's stunning. It's like Wee Woo Wee said. I think he had something about. It's like getting on the train and going to your destination and standing up on the train, holding your bags of luggage. Big heavy bags of luggage, holding them one in each hand, and you're sweating and you're going, oh, um, if I don't if I don't carry this luggage, it won't come with me to my destination. It'll be left behind. And someone laughed and said, "You're on a train, mate. Put put it down. Just put it down. It's okay." And then you realize, oh, what was I thinking? It's all the same, I can just put it here and just sit down. And take a weight off and sigh of relief. It's a nice quote. I can't remember how he put it, but it's a nice image. That's kind of how we are. There's this energetic sense that we're there, a lived sense of a separate me. And then it's just endlessly complex because I'm doing this, I'm not doing this, I should do that, I shouldn't do this, he said this, she said that, all fucking day long, beating ourselves up over, well, proving that, well, really, I am a piece of shit, really, like deep down. Some people don't see it. Or no, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm okay. And it's all this energetic loop about me, 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 me. I'm not enough this, da, 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 da. How will I ever deal with that? How will I? Oh my God, that's happening. I can't do that. I can't do this. I can't. Da, da, da. And the incredible thing is, you're not there. You're not doing anything. You're being done. It's too simple and ordinary. You don't have to cope with anything because you're not there. There's just aliveness. That's all there is. And sometimes aliveness is full on and crawling for an hour on all fours in pain to get help. That's the way it is sometimes. And sometimes it's a nice little saunter and it's easy. It's all aliveness. There's nothing to cope with. There's nobody that has to cope with it. It's too simple, actually. It's it's indescribably simple and ordinary and directly whatever is appearing to happen. But when there's a sense of you, then it's just infinitely complex. And how will I ever do this? How could I ever do that? Some people are more energetically like what appears to be coming at them. In other words, the future, the so-called future, and how, I'll never be able to, anxiety about what could happen. Then some people feel that they're more, looking back on, I said, I can't believe I said that. Oh, I can't believe I did that. Or why, blah, blah. And sometimes they go back for years and years, apparent years. Anyway, there's a heaviness to this sense that you have a life, a neurotic madness. They're your thoughts, your feelings, your relationship with this person, that person, your within your volition and within your capacity to do this, to do that. It's all a story. There's no you. If there's no you, there's no that he or she or him or her or anything. Only in the story there appears to be, but all you ever meet is yourself in a sense, because well, not that there is a self, but all you meet is aliveness appearing as another person, appearing as another body. So we have a poem. I bet you this is from Angie, I'm thinking. Of course it is. Our poet in residence. She's great.
Yeah, except that it's not mine, right?
Who is it? Yeah, that's true. It's not yours.
Yes.
There's no Angie. But did Angie appear to write it, or is it a?
Yes.
There you go. Do you like poetry then? Obviously,
Yes,
you
I
like
do.
poetry. That's a stupid
Yeah,
question, but do you write
yeah.
a lot of poetry or?
Yeah, it started a few years ago without the intention of writing it. That's why it's apparent to me that it's something that appears to happen from this background of whatever I was exposed to.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. But there's something about poetry, isn't there?
Yeah, it's a
There's
yeah,
there's something kind of other about it energetically. It seems to kind of.
yeah, words have energy. Words are energy.
All there
Sounds are
is energy,
energy.
yeah. So words are
Yeah.
energy for sure, yeah. I think it's
And
yeah, go on.
oh, I was just gonna say there's a resonance sometimes with the way the sounds happen.
Yes,
Uh,
yeah.
as you said, even about your message is the message that is transmitted is not necessarily the meaning of the words,
No,
but
no, no.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So it's in a way I find it's very close to poetry
Oh,
because
for
in
sure,
poetry,
yeah, definitely. The poetry, like, I mean, the way I'd see it is poetry kind of speaks of something other. It kind of energetically points to something other, and it's in the same way that the communication does. So poetry is kind of like the whole it's more than just the sum of its parts, you know.
yeah,
And it doesn't the other thing about poetry is it doesn't try to lay down explicitly what it's trying to say in prose like prose does, um and inherent in it is the kind of the idea that it can't really be laid down like that anyway. So
yeah,
because it can't be stated and is kind of beyond the words, then the words are used to evoke it maybe or evoke the resonance of it maybe. Yeah.
that's right. It strikes a deeper chord in a
For
way.
sure. Yeah, yeah. And in many ways, as you said, it uses the rhyme and the rhythm and the sounds kind of coming through, and it's more engaging in that sense. Yeah. Yeah. Do you want to read it?
So this is inspired by one of your talks, actually,
Okay.
when you described the meaning of chinwag.
Oh, a
And it's
chinwag. Yeah, that's right.
yeah,
Now I remember that. That was what, a few weeks ago or something. I can't remember really when. Who
I think
cares?
it must have been a few months ago.
A few months
Actually, I
ago.
can tell you exactly because I dated it. It's February 21st.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes like this. Come, my friend, sit for a tea. Put your back down. You're already free. It is what it is. This already is it. It's just your sense of me obstructing the reality. There's nothing to lose and nothing to gain. You can't imagine this without concepts in the brain. There's no life nor death. It's already eternity, apparent aliveness. Call it liberty. Where would you go? What would you do to arrive at the place without a me or you? This might frighten you. Shake all cells in the body. Then fear would be it without needing safety. So come, my friend, sit for a chin wag. It might just kill you, disintegrate your bag. Then we'll be on our way, apparently, already a free fall for nobody.
Oh, very nice, both of us.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was lovely. I'm glad I would have butchered it, so I'm glad you read it. That was really, really lovely. Thanks.
Yes.
Hmm. Yeah, it
So
is.
you
Go on, say.
mentioned putting the bag down, so this is here as well as a reference.
Oh yes,
Putting
yeah.
your back
Is that
down
what
when you're on a train. Yes.
is that what made you think of it?
Yes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So as I said, this appears from the background of everything that's made its way to this awareness.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the way it is. Like, I mean, um, when and nothing happens to anybody, but when that solid, real sense of you appears to unravel, or whatever way you want to put it, and it just doesn't seem to be solid and real anymore, nothing happens, but then everything is the exact same and everything is totally different because it's just suddenly new. And there's an in loveness, you could say, with what appears to be happening or whatever. And then it's, yeah, there's like all sorts of creative kind of things can, it's amazing what can just appear to happen. And without that sense that you're doing it, it's incredible. Yeah. Mhm. Mhm. I can't help but really dislike the whole system of rules, regulations, bureaucracy, and appointments. The punishment when not playing along. How can that be wholeness? How can taxes be wholeness? No, that's not wholeness. Bureaucracy, yeah. It's of course it, like, if there's wholeness, then all there is wholeness. So being asked to fill out a form and fill out another form about the first form and then go back and get a third form. It's like something from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, you know. You got to get a form to get you the next form and then go and fill that form to fill another form that then relates to a third form. And, you know, this just comical loop of going around and around, which is what we're appearing to do. I mean, the whole thing is quite farcical, really, isn't it? Increasingly so, with all the you know, more and more and more regulations and rules and laws governing ostensibly about your safety, always about needed to keep you safe or keep the world safe or keep you know, say stop climate change maybe, or whatever the narrative is. But like always, if you kind of any ability to look at it with some bit of discernment, it's about control, you know. So that's not right or wrong or anything. It's just the clay of light we call the theater of the individual, the theater of the separateness, the dualistic dream of you being separate is a theater, and it's increasingly farcical and empty. And the more it becomes like that, the more obvious, because like another way I would describe it sometimes is obviously everything is in complete balance because it's everything, it's whole and complete. So the more it appears as that way, the more obvious it is that it's empty also, because everything is proportionate. And so on, it just appears to play like that. Then this ridiculous story of you and your life and all of these systems that are needed, and that without them, which you would be in deep trouble. And you know, so we need this. Think of it. Think of it like it's the same energy. It's the same thing, really. Think of it like centralized government, central control, me, the center of me. It's the same, and what appears as it's just that theater of separation. So you could apply the same thing, like a government saying to you, oh, we need to now bring in these laws about free speech because there's all this disinformation. So we're going to protect you, and we're going to decide what's true and isn't true. Politicians are going to decide this now. This is good for you because we'll protect you from. And then people who are maybe a little bit naive are prone to a bit of safetyism, are saying, well, this is great, then they'll get all these lunatics off the internet or whatever it is. And they don't see that it's about control, and it's just aliveness. Go on, sorry, Angie.
This appears to happen in other domains of life as well. Like there appears to be this drive to come up with new concepts, to conceptualize on top of concepts and on top of concepts. Just as you say, a form about the form is the same let's say in big corporations, the way the business is structured, again, introduce new concepts, new ways of doing things that are complex and complicated, that not don't necessarily solve any issues. Same
Yeah.
as in programming, let's say with AI, so many layers, we moved away from the machine. Is the same with cooking, shopping. We don't buy basic ingredients all the time. We buy sauces, ready made, this and that. So there's that tendency that I observed to create layers of conceptualizations. Like
Yeah,
we
yeah.
even come up with new terminology, new words to describe that,
Yeah. Yeah,
to
yeah.
create more complexity. And
Yeah,
as you
yeah.
said, it's all a drive for power in the end,
Yeah, control. It's like
control.
the sense that you have of having a life. So you have a life. You are then in control of your life. So control is central to the whole thing. And your
Yeah,
sense of controlling your life and feeling, oh, sometimes my it felt like my life was getting a bit out of control, and that felt very scary and blah blah blah. And so it's the same on what appears as a larger scale then, like if you look at, for instance, a corporation is an individual under law. That's if you look into it. And there's all sorts of interesting stuff happening around that as well. But that's the control is the name of the game, really, and control of the narrative. And so because it becomes as this dream appears to get more and more and more, then what you appear to see then in that reality it's a narrative based reality then. And then that narrative based reality um is what we appear to deal with, very kind of a lot of kind of middle management kind of stuff, like heavy, much more heavier on the middle management side of things that are they're the ones then that, like you say, that let's have a meeting about a thing that we could implement to address, and it just gets infinitely more and more and more complex.
yeah.
And
And
then
let's call it in this new way, come up with a word
yeah,
with
yeah, yeah,
this.
yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes. And then let's just find more and more problems so we can find solutions to the problems to close the loop and justify then our position. So that's all narrative. It's all narrative led economy now. Um, it's not all narrative led economy, but it's heavy on the narrative, as reflected in social media. But any of the a lot of industries now are now plagued by this. Now they'll describe how this sense of having to go through so many different managers, and they all seem to have different fucking policies and procedures and ways to justify their things. So that then it's just going around and around the narrative, and that's the way the world is. That's the way it appears to be, and of course then it's all corporations anyway, because corporations have taken over a long time ago, um, and are the apparent power is there, and there because that's where the money is anyway. So wherever the money is, will set the narrative then, of course, and control the narrative. And so that's what you have is information war, and um, it's interesting to see as it plays out. And this suggestion then is another possibility to see that it's a narrative. It's just it literally is a narrative. Um, it's a story. There's nobody nobody is doing anything, and nothing is actually even happening. It seems to get more and more absurd and ridiculous and complicated, like you say. Like it
Yeah.
has to be really fucking complicated. And then
And then they have to build certifications, all kinds of
Yeah.
come up with
Yeah.
certifications to
And the
prove that
very,
you learn those
yes,
content.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the very things that they then come up with to unite us are the things that end up dividing us.
Hmm.
It's just ridiculous. And because but then it has, it justifies the whole thing just appears to go around and around. And as a result then, as also just get more and more polarized then. And that's what you're seeing is more and more kind of polarized, less discussion, let's say. Not a whole lot, not big on discussion these days, and more cancel the other, like overpower the other. Um, uh, and it's all just aliveness. Like that's the point I'm making. Really, is I'm not saying anything that millions of other people aren't observing, and they are, but observing it. But I think what's a little bit different is just the possibility of seeing it without with it not in that dichotomy of right and wrong, of oh, it's polarized and it's gotten really bad, and it's polarized because it's just this increasing sense of neurotic control that your reality is wrong and they're separate, and it's just that dualistic dream appearing to get more and more contracted and intense. And actually, it's all just energy. And of course, will collapse. And of course, the control will fall apart. Of course, it will. And in many, many areas now, people are really, what I've noticed is actually what happens with people is they'll really believe all of this stuff. And then one thing will just strike them as being, oh my God, that's not at all as it was portrayed to be. It's not at all like that. And then that'll be kind of a real eye-opening thing for them. And then they'll start to say other stuff. Oh, Jesus Christ, that's not really as it's. And then the whole house of cards can start to kind of collapse then, you know. Um, but most seem still very, of course they do, of course they do, because they really feel that they have a life and they're living their life. So there is this authority that's going to really keep them safe from all these bad people. So so that they, if they just do what be a good person and do what they're told and listen to the right stuff, they'll be safe then. So um that's just also aliveness. That's not right or wrong. Yeah. Catherine says the wolf telling the sheep not to trust the shepherd. Yeah, there you go. It's amazing, like even these days I say to people, like recently someone said about some of this new stuff that's coming in, uh ostensibly to combat misinformation again. And I was like, well, guys, like just think about it for a second though. Like who's gonna who judges the judges? Who, like, really, like, do you not think that maybe free speech has and then what the way it has become so polarized now is it's just such a narrative that people really assign you then into some sort of group then. And that's the way the whole control works, is that it's all about this kind of sense of don't be one of those, don't be one of those. And then kind of all, there's no substance a lot of the time in what the information are being people are being fed. What it is really is just kind of branding people as this or that or the other, or with links to this or with that or the other. And that's enough then. That's enough then for people to just other them. And I don't need to read that paper or listen to that person, or they probably got banned off YouTube for a reason anyway, or because it's just so it's so simplistic in that manner then for them. that dualistic kind of manner, and then they feel safe then, because it feels very threatening to it feels very frightening to a lot of people to question authority. Whereas I would say authority should always be questioned, always, always. And if it was all, like if authority was what it says it is, then it would welcome being questioned. Actually, interestingly enough, of course it would. We would welcome it. It would say, well, okay, just anything. And then it's that lack of discussion that's a kind of a red flag in itself. So I quite enjoy questions. I enjoy people who ask awkward questions. I always have. I enjoy people who challenge a narrative, and I mean, this communication itself is pure anarchy. It's absolute anarchy. There is no authority. There is no authority. It's that simple. There's no you. There's no separate you there. There's just aliveness, and it's stunning. It's indescribably stunning, and it appears as something pleasant and beautiful and loving, and it appears as pain, absolute pain and discomfort and a broken leg and whatever. So there's another, instead of trying to kind of wade your way through all this information and find out what's true and what's right and who's telling the truth and who isn't, and trying to cope with modern life, there's another possibility. The other possibility is you don't have to cope with anything because you're not there. There is no you. There's just aliveness appearing as the theater of that we see. You don't have to figure any of it out at all in any way, because what's yearned for is absolutely simple, ungraspable, unknowable, and inescapable. Just what's appearing to happen. And that's the beauty, as Catherine. Yeah, that is the beauty. So there you go. Thanks, thanks for nice to see so many. It was a nice meeting. And thanks for the poem, Angie. It was really lovely.
Sorry, I was going to say so much in loveness. It's incredible.
Yeah.
It's just everything so surprising. It's just
it's always new. Everything is always new. Yeah. And it always has been. Always has been.
Yes.
It's indescribable.
Yes.
So really the road to this is to go down some creek, fall, break your leg, and crawl up about it for an hour.
There was already no choice whatsoever.
Yeah.
Before that, anyway.
Of course
Something
not, yeah.
in me way ahead of that time, before leaving the UK, was thinking, oh, doesn't feel right. And I just couldn't do anything about it.
No,
like
it's
buying a camper van was taking place, driving in a traffic jam was taking place. There's absolutely, like, I think that's I or whatever. It's just a complete powerlessness. It's just everything's just happening freely.
It's appearing to happen, yeah. And you're adding yourself to it, yeah. Yeah. And you're this addition to it all the time. You feel that you're like in that thing that you'd have a feeling that you made a decision to buy a camper van.
Well, no, this decision was happening.
No, I'm not saying for you. I'm just saying an individual would. No, that's what I mean. Like, so one would, if they felt they had a life, would feel that they made a decision, then they did it, and then because they'd have a memory of, well, I have proof that it happened because I decided to, because that's the way it is. And actually, it's just what appears to happen. There's only what appears to happen.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
And it's
I
just
just feel like saying I love you, because it is like, you know, so this, I can't describe this immediacy and, you know, no otherness in a way. It's just,
yeah, of course you
yeah,
can't. Nobody
yeah, yeah,
can.
yeah.
It's
Yes,
impossible.
yes, yeah. Uh, it would be really nice. I'm happy that I was able to take part, because there's no roommate tonight, and so
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, everybody enjoyed hearing from you, Catherine. I can tell you that.
yeah, yeah.
I can speak
Uh,
on
yeah.
behalf of everyone in the meeting.
I mean, it's funny because the response of people, oh, that was awful, what disaster. And I thought, no, it's the right opposite. It's like,
Yeah, of
well,
course. Yeah, I
it's
know what you mean. Yeah.
indescribable, you know, for an outsider, I guess it seems.
Totally, I understand. Yeah,
Yeah.
like and it almost feels comical when people say that because and they mean so well,
Yes,
and but
yeah,
it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
like comic. It feels
No,
I've been in those scenarios and you almost laugh.
yes,
And you're going, oh no,
yes,
it's okay. Like you don't have to do all of this shit. Like of oh,
yeah.
I'm so sorry for you, and you don't have to do that game. Let's just stop that game thing
Yeah. Oh
because I
my
don't want to
gosh.
do it.
Yeah, I more or less put them in their place. Like I said, no,
Yeah,
you're completely wrong. It's the complete opposite. It's like what
yeah,
a, I mean, I could call it a blessing in disguise, because it's just this aliveness is inescapable, and
yeah.
yes, yeah, yeah. Thank
Mm.
you, thank you.
Thanks, Catherine. Thanks, everybody. Really nice to see you. All the Patreon people know who they are. If you're not on Patreon, there's a link there in the chat. I think it's the first one I put in. And yeah, so what I'm going to do with Vietnam is I'll have a meeting on Wednesday before I think I travel on Thursday. I don't think I know I travel on Thursday. And I'll be over in Vietnam then. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait till I think I'll wait till I get there to decide exactly how many Zooms I'm going to do. And it's kind of for that reason I'm not kind of launching it as a thing to I don't want to kind of get there and decide, you know what, I'm just not going to do too many of these blended Zooms, and then I'd have to refund people for the virtual attendance and everything. So I'm going to do it differently. I'm going to say that I will most likely do blended meetings. I won't be covering every one of them, but when I get there, I'll decide then, and I'll send the email then. And what I'm going to do is send it for people on Patreon, and then you can decide then if you wish to contribute and appreciate it to uh, because obviously it's a long way away and I'd appreciate a contribution, but it's not obligatory either. So that's how I'll send an email about all that anyway. So that'll be next week. Yeah, I'll be there this time next week. So Shane, really. Thanks, guys. Speak to you soon.
Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you, Kenneth.
Okay,
Thank
bye,
you.
bye, bye.
Thanks, Kenneth.
Thanks, Laura. Thanks. Bye.
See you.